inquiry, and this is a little punitive in nature, but of late, after reviewing nearly about 1,000 cases, I have come to the conclusion that now it is time to build the capacity of the investigating officers at the police station level. Now, investigation enabling team I have created. See, thinking that the people are not properly trained to investigate the crime, sensitive crime, unfortunately the 85% of the police force is from the constabulary, and they used to be treated as unskilled labours. And you know, now with the 85% of the people, they are going to interact with the public day in and out. If they are not properly treated, if they are not properly given some facilities, the basic minimum facilities, they are supposed to uphold the dignity of the common man. It will be very difficult unless these people are respected and treated with dignity. It will be very difficult to expect from these people, underprivileged people, to uphold the dignity. So my request, sir, that with the available laws and procedures, substantive laws and criminal laws, we can do wonders. And if it is not carried out, it is a failure on the part of the police, and I do admit that. And we want strength from other side, from the government side, from the judiciary, from other parts of the world, that all the good officers should be respected, recognized, and so that these officers are encouraged. Because it is not that the politician will tell you that to do the wrong things. Never in my life, no politicians ever dare to tell me that you do wrong things. I don't accept that. If you don't do it, still you are respected, or probably you are respected more than the others are. Politicians are very clever. They use the good officers for the good reasons, and they use the bad officers for the bad reasons. If you are good,
thank you, Mr. Pakistani, from the government department, from all the concerns, from the Department of Police themselves, and so on and so forth. The interest of the society which you have highlighted, and for which the police officer needs to be sensitized, is really a very novel point. I'll now request Mr. K. Mahesh.
Ladies and gentlemen, my presentation is going to be in three parts. What is the context in which we are discussing the police reform? B, I happen to be the honorary president of the Delhi Administration Officers Academic Forum, which is a think tank of active civil servants, not the retired ones. That what is the structure of the Delhi Police and the proposed reforms under the Delhi Police Act, Delhi Police Bill 2010, in view of the Prakash Singh versus Union of India, the directives, seek a critique and last the suggestions. Ladies and gentlemen, there have been 5 critical developments in this country which are posing a grave threat and danger to the Indian democracy, rule of law, and leading to violations of human rights. We all know the Prime Minister of India has said in the conference of the DGs that more than 160 districts of this country, they are being under the influence of the Naxalites, where people are locating their struggle outside the constitution. B, you find in Kashmir, the presence of the Indian army and the police is the symbol of India's sovereignty. C, you find similar situations in Northeast. Then on 5th of October 93, there was a Vora committee report which said that there is a nexus between the politicians, bureaucrats, police officers, custom and income tax officers. And then you find people, the common citizens of this country, they are fighting justice within the private justice system vis-a-vis public justice system. So all these developments are very, very critical, and they are posing a great threat to our Indian democracy, the rule of law, and human rights. So there is an urgent need for reforms. We cannot wait. Sitting in Delhi, you cannot feel the impact of it. And the reforms are just not, we can think about improving governance in this country just by talking about police reforms. It has to go with the civil services reforms. It has to go with the electoral reforms. The electoral reforms, the police reforms, and of course the judicial reforms, and the reforms in the civil services together will have a positive domino effect for good governance in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, therefore we cannot wait for police reforms to take place. It has to be implemented forthwith along with the reforms in the other areas as I have pointed out. Ladies and gentlemen, Delhi police pre-1978 we followed a magistracy. In 1978, we introduced the Commissioner of Police in Delhi. This was based on the recommendation of Justice G.D. Khosla Commission in 1966, and the Police Commissioner was introduced in 1978. The Commission said the system had worked satisfactorily in Mumbai, Kolkata and Chennai. The second reason was the law and order situation moves with such rapidity that an officer who knows the city and the force well in a better position to handle law and order. Ladies and gentlemen, we saw the functioning of the Delhi police since 1978. In 1989, we had the Balakrishna Committee report of 1989, which said the Commissioner of Police system had not been working to the satisfaction of the public, and there were complaints of abuse of powers and harassment of the public. Ladies and gentlemen, we know that FIRs don't get registered. We know unauthorized construction and encroachments takes place in connivance with the police. 3, we know about the riots. What happened during 1984 riots? We had the police commissioner system. We did not have the political interference. What happened during that time? You cannot blame the politicians for the non-performance of the police in 1984. In fact, these are some of the developments which are very, very critical. Now we have the Prakash Singh versus Union of India. Then we have the Model Police Act and some experiences gained by the Delhi Police in implementation of the Delhi Police Act 1978, that the Ministry of Home Affairs have a draft Delhi Police Bill 2010. Now if you look at the draft bill of Delhi Police 2010, does it really enforces accountability, effectiveness and responsiveness? This has to be tested. Now, Honorable Lordship made a very, very important point. The key point in policing, recruitment and training. That is the source. It's training, and I would say training and recruitment which can change the outlook of any organization, any profession, which is the need of the hour. Now, this section 12 of the Delhi Police Act, which deals with the appointment of subordinate ranks, has not been addressed under this new Delhi Police Bill 2010. Now, Delhi Police, we have this Delhi Appointment and Recruitment Rules 1980. Now, sir, the constable and the sub-inspector, you rightly said, they are, like you have this interview, but it's not that. Delhi is not that. It's much better than other states. For a constable and the sub-inspectors, they are very important. They are the people who are in touch with the common citizens of this country. They are the people who deal with the most needy, the deprived and the poor. Now, how does a constable and a sub-inspector gets recruited? You see, you have a written exam. No, first you have a physical test, followed by a written exam and an interview. Now, what is the criteria? If you first pass the physical test, both for the constable and the sub-inspector, you have to satisfy a particular limit, you are prescribed a particular standard, you reach that. If you qualify in that, then you will be allowed to write the written exams, and then you take the interview. So what happens is that here the physical qualities, the physical abilities are given dominance over other qualities. Now for policing, now the metro policing is very different. You need intelligent policing. You need people who are sensitive to the needs of the poor, the children, the women, the weaker sections like the Dalits, the tribals and the other sections, the elderly people. Then you need intelligent policing. You need people to be sensitized. And it has to be service-oriented. Now the Bore Committee, as Lordship pointed out, this Bore Committee report on training of 1971 was a very, very important landmark, I would say, a kind of a contribution. Had we implemented this with the true spirit, I think things would have been much better. In fact, my Lordship, you really pointed out the real problem of recruitment and training. And the Honorable IPS officer himself said that 85% of our police force is constable. And then what happens? You are recruited, then you have the training part. In training, again, how are you imparted training? Do they sensitize you? Is it service oriented? Is it intelligent policing? So these things needs to be looked into, which has not been addressed in 1978 Act of the Delhi Police, nor it has been addressed in the Delhi Police Bill of 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, in pursuance of the, to implement the directive of this Prakash Singh versus Union of India, the state governments, including Delhi, they have been asked to constitute this police establishment board, police establishment board and the committee for transfers and postings. Now, what happens in a transfer and posting? For SHO to ACP, you have the commissioner, the 3 special commissioners. Now, there could be a groupism, and I know if I am a junior officer, my senior officer would write my CR. Would I, if I have to point out that look, I don't like this ACP or SHO? What happens then? So you have a member of the Delhi, say a district session judge, who could be a member of this police establishment board, who sees the functioning of the police from close quarters, who knows who's corrupt, who's efficient, who's honest, who's doing a good job. I will not talk much on this. Then, you see, the power of reporting under Section 78. Now, it's a very important power. You see, under the police commissioner system, Section 146, and if you look at Schedule 1, there were powers given to the police commissioner under 9 acts and 5 acts. These are Part 2 Delhi Acts and Acts extended to Delhi. Now this power of reporting under Section 58 has also been taken away, has been proposed in the Delhi Police Bill 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, the most important problem of the police commissioner system in Delhi is there is no democratic control. There is no accountability to the democratically elected institutions. Our police commissioner system does not function the manner in which it functions in Calcutta or Chennai or other parts of the country. There is a kind of a civilian control, there is a democratic control. And this democratic control is exercised. You see, the police commissioner reports to the DGP reports to the Home Secretary, he in turn reports to the Home Minister of the state. But in Delhi, we don't have this kind of a democratic control, which is very much needed. I don't think anywhere in the world where you have a democratically elected governments that the police is not accountable to a democratically elected body. In Tokyo also, you have the Tokyo municipality where the police reports. Ladies and gentlemen, then the Prakash Singh committee, the Prakash Singh Union of India's directive was there should be a state security commission to frame policies. Now, the problems of the union territories was overlooked. Now, we are going to have one security commission for the union territories. Now, there are 5 union territories, one in Andamans, one in Lakshadweep, Delhi, Chandigarh, Daman, Diu. Now, the needs of Delhi police, which is one of the world's largest metropolis, is very different. Should there not be a UT commission for just security commission for the UT, for the Union Territory of Delhi? It's very important. This has been overlooked. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to just suggest that there were some important recommendations of the National Police Commission. In fact, Mr. Ashok Kapoor just pointed it out, which we have overlooked. One is that it said that there should be a law that no post-retirement rehabilitation of police officer should take place. Here I would add that also the civil servant should also be barred, including judges, for the post-retirement rehabilitation as judges of the governors of the state, members of the UPSC, members of various commissions and committees, information commissions. In the civil services we have that if you are retired as a secretary to get reemployed in the private, if you want to join the private sector, you have to wait for 2 years. Why this should not be introduced? The Radia scam is a story which tells that look, you had some secretary to the government of India, Chairman Telecom, he joined her company. Was that not a conflict of interest? I think it's a very serious development which is taking place, and we need to have a law that you bar with certain number of years the post-retirement rehabilitation of police officers, civil servants, including members of the judiciary. Ladies and gentlemen, another very important recommendation made by the police, by the National Police Commission was, you see, when you talk about police reforms, you cannot talk in isolation. You have, the criminal justice system has 3 pillars. You have the judiciary, you have the prosecution, and you have the investigating agency. And it made a very important recommendation that was